be a very spectacular evening, and people are just wanting change. Rich people want it, poor people want it, everybody wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. We're a laughing stock all over the world, and we're going to get that change very quickly. And this has been some incredible evening before it even starts, because people, they wanted to contribute to a cause of making America great again, and that's what's happened. We're going to make America great again. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, for the record, I don't know it. But that's Donald Trump, who had a big fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago. Now, of course, he had hated on the fact that Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama had their big fundraiser in New York City. He said he was going to do it bigger, he was going to do it better, he was going to raise more money, and he is now claiming that he did just that. He says he raised $50 million. And in that video, he talked about the rich wanting change and the poor wanting change. And let me ask you, which of those two groups you think gave him $50 million at a single event? Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait, click join now on YouTube. In any event, you think about that. I'm gonna read his comment on True Social. Biggest night in fundraising of all time. We'll double up the Biden number of last week at Radio City. People are desperate for change. They wanna make America great again. I love him saying people are desperate for change, because it is dishonest in a couple different ways. Change is at the most what he'll give the poor. Loose pocket change. And for the rich, no change. The rich do not want change. The rich are rich now, the way things are. They want that to keep going. Sure, you can cut taxes some more or whatever, but they don't want to violently rock the boat. The boat is the boat that they filled up with gold. So anyway, I'm sort of implying that that's his stance to these two different groups, but it also became clear in his speech behind closed doors. He assured the wealthy that he is going to provide for them an extension to the massive multi-trillion-dollar tax cuts that he passed as almost the only domestic legislative achievement of his first term. He's going to bring that back because, of course, he is. That's what the Republicans do when they become president. They give a couple $1 trillion to the wealthy. They perhaps invade a country in the Middle East, and then they call it a day. They demonize trans people or something. And that's what they do.
Nobody asks them how they're going to pay for it, ever.
No, never.
Nobody.
For any of those things, by the way. That's all free.
No. Oh yeah. The wars for sure, nobody, and tax breaks, nobody. And then it's, the budget, the deficit, China owns everything. Think of the children. Come on, bro. At this point, we've been around long enough, John, that we know that they're totally lying. Anyway, is there more 100%. Or can I completely go in?
Yeah, no, I have to be fair. Then you go in, okay? So the Trump campaign put out a statement because obviously the message coming out of this is it was just a promise of massive giveaways to the wealthy, because that's what it is, because that's what the rally is. That's what the movement is. That's what he is as a candidate. But they say Trump spoke on the need to win back the White House so we can turn our country around, focusing on key issues, including unleashing energy production. We're already producing more oil than we ever have in American history. I don't like that, but that is a thing that is happening. Securing our southern border after blocking the border bill from being passed, reducing inflation, which is going down, extending the Trump tax cuts, that's honest, eliminating Joe Biden's insane EV mandate, protecting Israel, and avoiding global war.
Oh boy.
So that's how they pitched it. What do you think?
Those last two things are going to be fun, because Biden's already doing that, and we are headed to global war unless he changes course immediately. So that one's very interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, look, Trump tax cuts, they expire. They expire in 2025, and there needs to be a Republican, there needs to be Trump back in office in order to extend them so the rich can write off their $60 million private jets. Yeah. But this is all about the narrative, right? We live in late stage oligarchy, late stage capitalist oligarchy in this country, so that they have to convince you of all of the things. Look over here, look at the border, look at the scary migrants caravans. And then meanwhile, we're going to rob you blind. And on your change remark, do you think that Donald Trump has ever given an unhoused person change in his life?
No way. Can you imagine? He'd be more mad even seeing an unhoused person than Jesse Waters. That would ruin his day entirely. But anyway, so look, that's what he was talking about. The Biden campaign put out a statement saying that he's got a dedicated history of lining the pockets of the wealthiest people in the world, which is totally true. Democrats have often gone along with that historically. Let's just be very clear. And by hook or by crook, I find it impossible to conceive of those tax cuts not being extended one way or the other. I hope that I'm wrong. Those lapsing.
No, you think Biden would continue them?
I mean, it seems like that would be political suicide, but in America, taxes shooting up on the wealthy. And I'm not even sure in 2025 which ones are intended to lapse. I don't know if that includes the corporate ones, but I have a very hard time believing it. Maybe the personal ones, but the corporate ones, I have a hard time.
He said he'd raise them. Biden said he'd raise the corporate tax rate and raise it on billionaires.
He has said things, yes. And I hope
stuff.
that those are things that he would actually do. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.